What's up guys, it's Zero here bringing you all a brand new Gears of War video, so let's get into it. So guys, for those of you who didn't know, one of the developers that has been working on Gears of War E-Day is a developer that has worked on Gears of War in the past, that being People Can Fly. This development studio actually worked on Gears of War Judgment, and now they're back in the Gears of War ecosystem, and they obviously worked on Outriders and a number of different other games throughout the course of their history. Well, it's kind of interesting because this does have to do with Gears of War E-Day and what we can maybe expect here in terms of the role that People Can Fly is making on, Gears of War E-Day as a whole, as they're having some internal issues at this point in time. Let's get into it. So guys, in an article coming to us from PC Games, Outriders and Gears of War E-Day dev cancels 2 upcoming games. And by the way, guys, this is coming to us from Will Nelson over at PC Games. Outriders and Gears of War studio People Can Fly is suspending 2 of its in-development projects while confirming this means it will have to scale down our teams. One of these games is the upcoming Project Gemini, an unannounced game originally set to be published by Square Enix, who People Can Fly also worked with to publish Outriders in 2021. Project Bifrost, meanwhile, was set to be a self-published game. Founded in 2002, People Can Fly is known for co-developing some of the biggest video games of the last few years. The team worked with Epic Games on Bulletstorm and lead development on Gears of War Judgment, while it's currently making Gears of War E-Day alongside the Coalition. The team also developed Outriders, which was published by Square Enix. Now, look guys, here's what I'm going to tell you about People Can Fly. I have been critical of People Can Fly in terms of Gears of War at this point in time. I believe that Gears of War Judgment kind of led us into the dark ages of Gears of War, and so I have a real sour taste in my mouth of what People Can Fly has done for Gears of War specifically. Now, Bulletstorm, Outriders, they were very interesting games in their own right. Definitely you could see a lot of the Gears of War-esque play style and all of those different things. Like, you could definitely tell that those games were spiritual successors to Gears of War in different ways. I made a video talking about, I was a little bit nervous about People Can Fly coming in to work on Gears of War E-Day because of their history with Gears of War, that being Judgment. Now, obviously, the Coalition, when they took over, obviously they are working really hard, guys, to make sure that Gears of War E-Day is completely knocked out of the park. I mean, they want to have a Gears of War title that is completely blown out of the park in a way where kind of what we saw with the original Gears of War trilogy. Because when you think about it, what the Coalition has done up to this point, that being, Ultimate Edition to Gears of War 4, Gears 5, I thought Ultimate Edition was fine. I thought that Gears of War 4 was great in different aspects, right? I don't think that the story was as great as, like the trilogy, but it was definitely, I felt like they were kind of moving into something. I felt like they kind of prioritized, robots over the Locust a little bit too heavily. And then we got to Gears 5, and Gears 5, once again, guys, I don't think that any of these games were terrible like I thought that Gears of War Judgment was. In Gears 5, they moved into a direction of this semi-open world style within the campaign specifically, and I just didn't feel like Gears of War should be a semi-open world or open world title. I felt like it's much better as a linear, dark, gritty story that has horror elements in it. And on top of that, I just felt that the game was so much brighter than like the previous titles. I just feel like Gears 5, they tried some things. And that's one of the things I've really loved about the Coalition is they've tried things. Like, for example, they tried Escalation as a new game mode within Gears of War 4. I thought it was an incredible game mode. Certainly not perfect, but I loved that they were adding that. Hivebusters, another really interesting thing. I don't think it landed perfectly, but I love the idea of trying some new things. The thing about it is that I think the Coalition, they've tried a number of things, and they've realized that there's things that have worked, things that have not worked. And that's why with Gears of War E-Day, they're going back to this dark, gritty kind of style, going back to where kind of this whole entire franchise started. With that, though, what makes me nervous is that when you add People Can Fly into the mix, what exactly is it that they are working on for the coalition. And so when you see that they're having, internal issues, obviously working with some of these other publishers and things of that nature, it does just make me nervous about their commitment or what they're exactly doing for Gears of War E-Day. Because guys, I think we can all agree Gears of War has somewhat been in another dark age since Gears 5. I mean, they shut down Gears Esports. They stopped servicing Gears 5. We have been, kind of in this limbo state with Gears of War, and E-Day needs to get knocked out of the park. So this is the last thing that you really want to hear, is that a company that is helping to work on Gears of War E-Day is having some internal issues and having to let people go. That's never a good sign. Today, we made a very difficult decision to suspend the development of Project Gemini and Project Bifrost. The relevant current reports have been released to the market. That's what the People Can Fly CEO wrote in a new statement. The suspension of the Gemini project is a consequence of the fact that the publisher has not presented us with a draft of the subsequent content rider to the publishing agreement covering the terms and conditions of further milestones on Project Gemini, and the lack of communication from the publisher as to its willingness to continue or terminate the Gemini project. It's going to be out of their control without question in certain perspectives, but it's never good and never something that you want to hear about where they're letting people go. It just sucks. I mean, it feels like I really feel for those people that got let go from People Can Fly. And I'm certainly hoping that they can get things turned around over at People Can Fly so that, they can utilize the teams in a proper way to make sure that all these projects that they are trying to work on can get to, fruition. Project Bifrost was suspended due to the above and the analysis of the group's cash flow, which showed a lack of prospects for securing organizational resources and funds necessary to continue the production and release of this project. As a result, we have to significantly regroup as a studio and scale down our teams, which hurts the most. We wish to express our deepest regret and sadness over how these events have unfolded and our sincere gratitude for everyone's contribution up to this point. And guys, People Can Fly's investor webpage confirms Project Gemini was a AAA game developed in partnership with publisher Square Enix, while also confirming that Bifrost was to be a self-published game as well. And, look, guys, I would say part of it is going to be on, outside control, that being like, Square Enix or whatever the case might be. But I think some of those things are internal issues, like their self-published game, which was Bifrost. And like I said, I've said this, a number of times on the channel. I'm not saying that People Can Fly is not a capable studio. I think they are, because I even think with Gears of War Judgment, there were things inside of the game that I felt were interesting. They were things that they were trying that I don't think all the things landed properly, but I loved the idea and the creativity there. And you can see the creativity that People Can Fly has with Bulletstorm, with Outriders. And so there's something underneath all of it that I think is special. However, it does make me nervous because I think that there's, when we're talking about Gears of War E-Day, the fate of the Gears of War franchise is laying on E-Day for the most part. Certainly Reloaded is going to be great because it's going to introduce PlayStation for the first time to Gears of War, but E-Day has got to get knocked out of the park. And so I'm really hoping, guys, that People Can Fly is able to get through this really tough time. And I feel so bad for all the people that got let go from People Can Fly, but we'll have to kind of wait and see, guys. And I'll be sure to give you guys all the information as it comes out. And like I said, I think that we're going to be hearing more and more about Gears of War E-Day at the Xbox Game Showcase. And as we go here, I'll be giving you guys all the information as it comes out. But let me know what you guys think about this. People Can Fly having to let a number of people go within their studio due to, the partnership with Square Enix, and then their self-published game. They're having to let a number of people go. And obviously, they are here helping the coalition with Gears of War E-Day. What do you think this does in terms of that team that is working on E-Day, if anything? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. And for more Gears of War E-Day content and videos, keep it right here.